Greetings everyone, Shadohaunt Joker here, and today, the wait is over. I finally unveil Tally Ho, aka my version of Gallantmon. Now, first of all, I have 5 eggs, not 4. I only run one of the GG from BT12, mainly because when I start hitting my main effects of deleting, I like to go into it, get a couple of hits in. So getting a maximum hit on one stack would be perfect. Then I run 4 of the EX2. Now, of course, this wouldn't be ideal against like Mirage or anything like that, but I prefer only one of the other one because with the stacks that we're going into later, you'll see why. This is just a backup plan. These are the main. Now, we'll start with our level 3s. I run only one of the BT19, mainly because that main phase, if I have a Tocado or a Gallantmon, I gain a memory. Its inherit is just basically straightforward. Have 0 less memory, 2000 added to my DP deletion effects, but think of this as my semi-Uko. Just start of main, gain 1, no big deal. Then I run 1 Gallantmon of the EX4. On play, total number, basically if you have 20 or more between you and your opponent, it gains Rush. Now, that, I'm only running 1, but at a certain point I could switch out this and run 2. So it's all dependent on taste. Now, the next 2, on the other hand, is a mandatory 4 of. The EX2 Gallantmon and the EX8 Gallantmon X Antibody. Gotta have 4 of both. This one, it's standard. On play, reveal the top 4. Add 1 card with Gallantmon in its name and 1 Tocado. Place the others at the bottom. Gotta have it to make the deck move, right? Then, of course, Gallantmon X Antibody. On play or digivolving, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 card with Gallantmon or Gallantmon in its name, and 1 X antibody among them in your hand. Return the rest to the bottom of the deck. So basically, these help you get the Tamer and just the regular set. Or, this can help you get the regular or the X antibodies and get that X antibody option card. So, that takes care of those. Next, we're going into our level 4s. We'll start off with 2 Gallantmons from the starter deck. So this one, it doesn't do anything regular. The inherit is just gaining 1. Sort of like how this one will gain 1 if there's a deletion. So that helps that. Now the one thing I did not cover is Gallantmon's inherit here. If an opponent, if you have a Gallantmon in its name, delete one of your opponent's 3,000 or less. It's because at this point, everybody knows about that Gallantmon. So it's one of those things where you can skip over, but during tournaments and everything, it's an automatic that you know it in your head. So with those gone, the next is 3 of the Gallantmon X antibodies here. This one does a lot. First and foremost, you digivolve it for 3, or if you have Gallantmon, it's 0. No big deal. On digivolving, draw 1, then trash 1. So technically you do a draw 2, trash 1 on its digivolution. Then if you have Gallantmon or X antibody in its digivolution cards, until the end of your opponent's turn, this Digimon gains on deletion. You may play 1 of your Gallantmon in its name from trash without paying the cost. And again, it has that inherit of when any of your opponent's Digimon are deleted on your turn, gain a memory. So, again, a lot of memory gain here. Now, the next 2 is the Gallantmons from BT19. Sometimes I have a situation where I get too many Tamers stuck in hand, and I'll see this in play, well, in my hand as well. So, when digivolving, if you have 1 or fewer Tamers, you may play 1 Tocado from your hand without paying the cost. And then its stationary inherit is, if you have 0 less memory, add 2,000 to the DP deletion of effects at maximum. And then the last one, I run one BT17 Growlmon. Delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 4,000 or less. If this effect didn't delete, this Digimon gains 3,000 for the turn. And it does basically the same where it adds 2,000 to the DP deletion effect. So that'll stay there. My main thing is, with all this deletion and all this boosting, it will pack a punch later. So on and so forth. But at a certain point, you can use the starter deck Growlmon, or you can sub it out. You can also use the starter deck Gallantmon, but that's one of those things where if you're not doing the other combos that I do, which is what I'm not going to be showing, but I will hint to it later, it'll all make sense. Now, level 5s. I run 2 of the War Growlmons from BT12. When Digivolving, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 4,000 or less. Somewhat small, but it gets the job done every once in a while. You never know when you might run into an Uko or a Gazi. So, if no opponent's Digimon were deleted by this effect, you may Digivolve this Digimon into a level 6 Digimon with Gallantmon in its name in your hand for the Digivolution cost. When this Digimon would Digivolve by this effect, reduce the Digivolution cost by 1. Its also inherent effect is, if your opponent has no Digimon in play, and this Digimon has Growlmon or Gallantmon in its name, gain 2 memory. Not bad. So some of the stack will give you 1 memory on deletion. This one, end of attack, you gain 2. Add that to a lot of fun later. Still getting that good memory gain. Sometimes it's not required. Then I run 3 War Growlmon X antibodies from EX8. Now, it can Digivolve on top of the War Growlmon for a cost of 1. Okay, so we're starting to see a +1 here on the Digivolution, but it's still nothing that you couldn't handle. Now, when Digivolving until the end of your opponent's turn, this Digimon can't be returned to the hand or decks and gains 3,000 DP. Solid. So this is automatically 11,000. Now, if War Growlmon or X Antibody is in this Digivolution cards, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 10,000 or less DP. Now, with your stack and all the other stuff that you're gaining, of course it'll be a little bit higher. Then, of course, it gives security +1 for checking. So, right there, still a good solid little placement there. But the next 2 is kind of confusing. First one is War Growlmon from BT17. When Digivolving, you can delete an opponent's Digimon with 6,000 or less DP. If this didn't delete, this Digimon gains security +1 for the turn. Its also inherent is, once per turn, when an effect deletes an opponent's Digimon, you may unsuspend this Digimon with Gallantmon in its name. So, if you have this stack, security +1, security +2 going in. And then, of course, the 1 War Growlmon Ace. I've heard people wanting to do 2 aces of this, but I stick with the 1 because I don't really use it as much, and I don't really see it as much when I do my big plays. So I'm not trying to add to it, because when I do my big plays and a lot of stuff is being deleted, the less memory I'm giving my opponent, the better. Sure, they're going to delete. They're going to waste options to delete my stack. So why give them a reward for making them pay all that just to get rid of, right? Now, my level 6s and 7s. 1 Gallantmon from BT12. What? Joker, why this one? Why can't you use the other one that has the rush? Here's why. First of all, I get Raid. Now, we all know what Raid does. When a Digimon attacks, you may switch the attack target to one of your opponent's unsuspended Digimon with the highest DP. Come on now. We're hitting hard. We're getting in there. Sometimes it's best to just hit the Digimon instead, because with all the stuff that we got in the stack, this can collide, delete the Digimon, use the effects to delete the smaller Digimon. then that other War Greymon will take effect, right? Right. All right. So, when Digivolving, delete one of your opponent's 6,000 or less DP Digimon. When attacking, do the same thing, but if nothing was deleted by this effect, you can trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. Ah, there's that caveat. When you're attacking, if you get this right, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 6,000 or less DP. Nothing gets hit. If none of your opponent's Digimon was deleted by this effect, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. Once again, I may not hit, but I can still trash. It's always good to have at least one of those in the deck, just in case you need to get a little crowd clearance. Now, 2 of the BT17 Gallantmons. When Digivolving, when attacking, delete one of your opponent's 8,000 or less DP. And if this effect didn't delete, this Digimon gains 3,000 and gains blocker until the end of your opponent's turn. On your turn, while you have 0 or less memory, this Digimon isn't affected by your opponent's effects. This is like the main one that you want to get. This one is just a quick little situational until you get into that one. You could run more of these, but I don't really see it going past the 2 when we got such other heavy hitters to put in the deck. Now, 3 Gallantmon X antibodies. And yes, these are the same ones I pulled all 3 of. That was a fun set. Now, let's get ready for a little educational reading. Digivolving the Gallantmon, cost of 1, rather than just Digivolving for 5. Well, for 4. Here we go. If Gallantmon or X antibody is in this Digimon's Digivolutions until the end of your opponent's turn, this Digimon gains 4,000 while one of their Digimon loses 4,000. Okay, first and foremost, you can do that on Digivolving and attacking. It's not once per turn. The next effect is once per turn. When Digivolving or end of attack, delete one of your opponent's 10,000 or lower Digimon. If this effect didn't delete, trash the top card of their security and this Digimon unsuspends. So it's a reset, but then you can't use that effect again. Now, when you have 0 or less memory, this Digimon isn't affected by your opponent's Digimon effects. So, yeah. What was that you say? You want to hit me with a certain medieval gallant or something? No. Quartzmon? Maybe. But right here, you can literally drop a Digimon down by 8,000. Then just go for it. It's all good. And considering how many aces there are in the game, you might reset and keep on going with your plays. Now, the next 2 are my 7s. Gallantmon Crimson Mode Ace, of course, but I only run to 1. Its replacement, Omnimon X Antibody, its partner in crime. Now, we'll go into the Gallantmon Crimson Mode Ace first. Of course, your standard thing with these aces is you can Digivolve, Blast Digivolve, hand counter, or you can just on-play it for like 8. So, if you Digivolve a level 6 Gallantmon, it's a cost of 4 instead of 5. Now, on play or when Digivolving, delete up to 15,000 DP total worth of your opponent's Digimon. So basically, we're smacking the field. Or we can just target 1. Now, when attacking, for every 10 cards in both players' trashes, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. Now, here's something that I want to bring up. Because notice I didn't mention anything about this ace at all, right? Here's why I chose one of this and one of this. This one's effect states delete up to 3,000 DP total worth of your opponent's Digimon. But for each of your opponent's Digimon, add 2,000 to the deletion effect. Then, for each Digimon this Digimon deleted, gain a memory. This one just says 15. Now, This will come back later as a play in a Joker's Wild part, where these two collide. And they do something that I'm actually proud of. It's actually won me more games than lost. So, keep up on that. Plus, all turns, add 3,000 to the DP deletion of effects. Its only overflow is -3, while this one's -5. So once again, we'll come back to that later. And now for the newly added, I should say, Omnimon X Antibody. It's 6 to Digivolve, or if you have Omnimon, cost of 2. Now, I could put in the Blitz Omnimon. I'm going to workshop it and see if it actually flows better. Because if it does, I will add one of each. But I don't like stacking the deck with way too much firepower to the point that I'm just bricking all the time. This flow actually helps me out. There's other cards that I'll probably take out instead, so bear with it. Now, it has Raid, Piercing, and Blocker. These are familiar, right? Stuff that's already in this deck. But Joker, Piercing's not in this deck. Bear with me. On play when Digivolving, if Omnimon or X Antibody is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, choose one of both players' Digimon and delete all other Digimon. Right. Then, return one opponent's Digimon to the bottom of the deck. End of your turn, once per turn, one of your Digimon may gain Rush for the turn and attack without suspending. Let me repeat that. One of your Digimon may gain Rush for the turn and attack without suspending. Alright. Now, we're going to go with Tamers. And again, it's going to be confusing, but bear with me. 1 red tie. Now, some people got caught off guard in tournaments with this, but here's why. Of course, it's a memory tamer. If you have 2 or less, you gain 3. Well, you said it's a 3. All your red Digimon with 4 or more Digivolution cards gain security +1. Wow, I'm starting to pack a punch here. Now, 2 Cool Boys. Some people will say you don't need Cool Boy in this deck, but I have had a 80% success rate with Cool Boys. So, to me, as long as the deck has consistency where I have bare minimal 75% success rate with certain cards, I'll use them. So, they stay. 80%? Come on now. First, on play, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Add 1 Digimon with X Antibody and its traits, and 1 option card with X Antibody and its traits among them to the hand. Place the rest at the bottom of the deck in any order. When one of your Digimon digivolves into the same level Digimon with X Antibody and its traits, you may suspend this tamer, gain 1 memory, and draw a card. Seriously? You're literally plussing more than you're negging, so I'd go with that. Now, 2 Takada Masuki from EX2, and if I butchered the name, I'm sorry. I normally just like calling him Takado. So, when an opponent's Digimon is deleted, you may suspend this tamer, gain a memory. Now, when one of your Digimon would digivolve into Gallantmon, Growlmon, in its name, that Digimon gains, when digivolving, Blitz for the turn. Ha! Gee. Sounds like a good effect, right? So even if I pass the turn, basically, like, let's say I pay Digivolve for 3, I'll say, and my opponent has 1, I still get Blitz. So there's that. And then 2 of the new Takados. Now, they're memory tamers. So you already know because of tie. But it has this effect. When any of your Digimon digivolve into Growlmon, Gallantmon in its name, by suspending this tamer, they gain Raid. Then, that Digimon attacks a tamer. See, I would put in the Gallantmon that allows you to do piercing, but at rare moments, I never saw it. Even when I put 4 in the deck, I never saw it. I don't know if it was bad shuffling or just it didn't synergize well, but it never came up. So I took it out. Now comes the what on earth is Joker thinking? First of all, 1 regular X antibody. While you have a Digimon in play, you may use this card without meeting the color requirements. Which, to be fair, X antibody just goes with anything. So, security, gain 1 memory and add this card to the hand. Also, on your main, place this card at the bottom of the Digivolution card of one of your Digimon without X antibody in the Digimon's cards. So, it's just a little neat way to end there. But all turns. Effects can't trash X antibody in this Digimon's Digivolution cards. So, they can't trash it. When attacking, this Digimon can Digivolve into a Digimon card with the X antibody trait from your hand for the Digivolution cost. Starting to see something, huh? Look at all those other X antibody cards. Well, speaking of which, we have 2 proto forms. Different variation of X antibody. So, same thing with if you have a Digimon, don't need to meet the color requirement. So, security, just add it to the hand. Aw, but no gaining memory. There's reasons for that. It would be way too broken if they added that other effect to it, and here's why. If you bear with me, we'll get to its brokenness at the bottom. But first, on main, one of your Digimon without X antibody in its Digivolution cards may Digivolve into a Digimon with the X antibody trait in your hand with the Digivolution cost reduced by 1. If it did, place this card at its bottom Digivolution card. Alright. Broken effect. All turns. When this Digimon would leave the battle area other than by one of your effects. From this Digimon's Digivolution cards, return 1 Digimon card from the hand and place 1 X antibody on top of the deck on your security stack. So basically, cycle it. Yeah. Put it at the top, gets trashed, or they attack into it, add it to hand, rinse and repeat. That's why it's best that it didn't gain the memory, or that thing would either be hit to 1 or banned. Now, this card I'm saving for last. But that card will be before it. I run 1 red memory boost. It's a standard card. Basically, reveal top 4, add a red, then delay, gain 2. Nothing to really write home about. 4 offense trainings. Pretty standard. Just reveal 2, add 1 red. Of course, this one only adds 1 red Digimon. This red adds 1 red of anything. So there you go. Then you can reduce the Digivolution by 2. Again, standard stuff, right? Now, 1 Crimson Blaze. Joker, you have way too many option cards. Reasons. There are so many times where a lot of my option cards were in other decks just never really used, never really relevant. This, however, is the only deck where I can add more option cards and have a big payout. So, of course, Crimson Blaze, you basically decrease its cost depending on how many Digimon your opponent has. So, basically, you can get it down to 2 if need be. Some standard matches only allows it to go down to 2 because not everybody's swarming the field like they used to, and Rookie Rush hasn't been really done in a while. So, delete all your opponent's Digimon with 6,000 or less. Your opponent can't play Digimon by effects until the end of their next turn. Basically, it gives you a turn to stun the field a bit. No excessive effects. But because of Medieval Gallantmon and a couple other cards that came out, I was asking myself, Joker, what's a way to stop the Medieval Gallantmon play? And I came up with something. Something that every time I use it and I get the effect off, this card has had a 90% success rate. Crimson Savior. All right. Let's address the elephant in the room. This card is considered bad to a lot of players, but to me, this works. First of all, one thing that I will point out. On main, you may play one Gallantmon or Tocado from your hand or trash without paying the cost. Then place this card in the battle area. So, hypothetically speaking, I accidentally trashed Tocado. Play that Tocado. I have a 4-cost Tocado in hand. I paid 3 for it. All my Gallantmons are in trash. I get one. Now, here's the bonus kicker. All turns. When an opponent's level 5 or higher Digimon is played, not digivolved, played, one of your Digimon may digivolve into a Digimon card with Gallantmon in its name in the hand without paying the cost. So, now hypothetically speaking, they want to play Medieval Gallant. Alright. How about while you're trying to get rid of my small stuff, you play that, I pop this, drop out Crimson Mode Ace, and tell that Medieval Gallant, I don't like you. Or what if they have like one of those Myotismons or something that can be played out? They do an on-play to try to have a big blocker. About your big blocker. Say hello to my Crimson. About your big blocker. Say hello to my Gallant. That's what it's for. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is very interesting enough. I'm going to give you a couple of stack plays. So in 3, 2, 1, and... Alright, so here's the first play that I'm going to do. But I'm going to keep all tamers and everything right here. So we'll just put them here. So that you know what we got on the stack. We'll just put 2 option cards there with the Crimson Savior. Crimson Savior is just going to be in the background. It's just a floaty. So don't even worry about it. Now, let's say we start the turn, go to 3, promote the Gallantmon, go to 4. Now, we'll say we're trying to hurry up and get that orbital buster going. It's what I like to call when I'm hitting for at least more than 2, 3 security. So we already gained the 1. We will digivolve for free, spin, draw your card, go from there. Now, we'll crack 1 offense training, go into the growl, draw in again, digivolve for free, do its effects. Then we will hit into this growl. Now keep in mind, the stack is growing. We didn't really need to go any further, right? Right. So at this point, we would take from the 5, 1, 2, 3. And let's say, hypothetically, we didn't hit. That's a good thing. So now we get security +1 for the stack for the turn. Now, we're going to digivolve for 1. Sometimes you don't need to digivolve for 1. You can go into the free. So, do its effect. Now, of course you will get the 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3. Now, at this point, go into the red Gallant. So then we're at 0. And then here is the big kicker for me. We swing here. No big deal. Get our little stuff going. It'll be security +1, 2, 3. So that's 4 checks. Plus, let's say opponent doesn't have anything. They got to trash 1 first. 4 checks. Now, we can digivolve in. Go into the Gallantmon X Antibody. Or, if you want, tuck that underneath when we Digivolve into the Gallantmon. Swing in, Digivolve, do its effect. Keep in mind we're paying the 1 still. So we would then Digivolve, go through all our motions, trash, unsuspend. Keep in mind, we just got rid of an entire 5 stack there, right? Swing again. Now let's say, hypothetically, we didn't get the kill. It's their turn. They want to go into, we'll say, like a 15k blocker or something. Pop the Crimson. Go into the Crimson mode. And take care of it, rinse and repeat. Now, that's stack 1. Now let's say, instead of this stack, we have stack number 2. Well, instead of saying the offense training, we will say we had the red memory boost. All right, so again, go to 3. And we will say for our Digimon, we decided to just go this Gallantmon and move up. Don't get anything, no big deal. We will immediately follow it up with the Gallantmon. Again, do all that. Which then we will follow up with this Growlmon. Now, if you want to, you can. If you don't, no big deal. This next part is going to be the kicker, though, after you go into the Growlmon X antibody. If you have the red memory boost, crack it. Get you back to. Now, here's why. I'm going to go and crack my red offensive training. Only Digivolve for 1. Hit the effects. We'll say, hypothetically, we deleted 1. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Right? No big deal. Keep in mind, we're going for big board damage. We're going to, like, get full lethal here. So, go into the 1. Follow it up. Go into 3. All right, stand with me. Now, already, let's say, due to the fact of the Wargrout Ace, we didn't hit anything. We have a security +1. We have an additional 3,000 here, 3,000 here, plus blocker. So 6,000 here. We're at 17k. Blocker, security +1. Digivolve for 1. Gallant. So already, we're setting up nicely. Now, let's say we hit something, we have to pass the turn. You're already set up. You already got the Crimson Savior. So just in case, you already got the security protection. So any Digimon effects, unless they pay out excessively, or at least can get it to 2, you're good. You're in good standing here. Keep in mind, each turn from this point on, you're going to either trash 1, or you're going to hit, unsuspend, 1, 2, 3 checks, follow up by unsuspending, and do 3 checks. Now, you can either hold in hand the Crimson Mode Ace, or if you have any other cards in stack, any card at all, you can go for Omnimon X Antibody, right? Basically, make any other stack you want to do so. And then it just stays. Now, I'm about to show you something called the Joker's Wild Plays. These are 3 combo combinations that I've done that has caught people off guard, and not only have they worked, they actually have won me games. Crimson Savior, you've already seen what I can do with that, so that's not part of the play. It involves just these three. Each one has a different variation, so we're going to start off with these and go from there. At one point, an opponent of mine gave me 4 because they did a memory tamer. I just flat out dropped out of War Ground and said, "Your go." They were caught off guard. And I was just like, there you go. But during my turn when I did such, I had Gallantmon in the back. They went through their plays, had the Uko, did everything, set me to 3. They actually checked into that Tocado and the Cool Boy. It came back to my turn. So let me show you good cards to sync with this War Growlmon while having this in the back. You push it up. You gain the 1. Go ahead and Digivolve for 1. No big deal. You're going to go back to 4. Now, you do all that stuff. You're getting the effect because of that, so you may not get the security +1 from that, but you'll have a special little thing going on right there. So then, Digivolve there. And needless to say, after all that I did have the Proto. And then I went into X. X did his thing. I got to swing. And my opponent was caught off guard because they noticed that I got to unsuspend after it deleted a Digimon. He was like, "Wait a minute. How did you delete?" I said, "Due to the fact..." Yeah, basically, this had swung, deleted. He forgot the all turns effect of my other Digimon to unsuspend. So then, played it, swung, got to delete something else instead. Got to unsuspend. This is not including the when Digivolving. This is actually when I did the attacking. For about a good 2 turns, it dawned on him that this was the wild card effect. It's inherent of when an effect deletes an opponent's Digimon, you may unsuspend this Digimon with Gallantmon in its name. It counts. The entire time, he was so worried about me gaining the memory from this, he was not suspecting that this would be the threat. Now, that's Joker's Wild 1, having that kind of a sync. Now, this next one involves this being in trash, while also having a special little stack going. The stack included, I kid you not, this, with this underneath, and Digivolving into this. Now, as you know, it needs to have either Growlmon or X Antibody underneath. So, while this was in trash, placed underneath, Digivolve, did not get the effect of Cool Boy, of course, but I had already been at 4. So, after I trashed, did that effect, I started going through the motions, getting my stack going, and I just kept going with it. Cracking a training after every so often. You'd be like, crack the training on this. Digivolved again. Cool Boy. Then cracked again when I got into this. Got to game. Now, here's why I was doing all this gaining. I would place the other protoform underneath that stack. These are just plays that are on the fly that help me out. I'm not saying you're going to get these all the time, but if you're stuck in a jam, it's best to just wing it. So, Went in. Into that stack. He had a Digimon that I could not delete because of how big it was. Until, and keep in mind, this was actually where I got in. They gave me the overflow. The overflow was 4. So, at that point, I knew I can go full blown with this. I decided, okay, got the security, +1, 2, I can swing, get in there a little bit. I had already swung with this, so then I unsuspended. I decided to go 1, 2, 3, 4 into my ace. I now had enough to delete the Digimon that they had. After I got rid of that one, I decided to finish up with this. Swing in, it got deleted. Got my Gil. Swing for game. So, I know what you're wondering about the Omnimon. If that play hadn't went through, yes, I would have definitely went into the Omnimon and went full blown. I would have had my protection. But I realized that I had the Gil, and after all that we had did, it's better off I had just went for the Gil of the rush. So, sometimes you don't need to go major. Sometimes you can go smaller. But if you can't go smaller, go major. Just be wary, if your stack is that big, that's why I didn't want to go that route, they would have had an overflow of 8. Only one time they got this overflow. I didn't have this in hand. They hit the stack, went to 8, and it hurt. They actually took it. So in order to avoid doing shenanigans like that again, it's only rare that I will use these two in the same stack. If I do, I'll try to improvise, come up with a better play. But as much as it is with total destruction, you got to learn to temper yourself on that. Do you really want to give your opponent 8? I mean, in this kind of a memory economy, your opponent could take the win with just 1. Do you really want to give them 8 more? It's like going here, they can turn it around, can't they? I mean, we've all seen certain decks that can do it from here. So, one of these. Don't need any more unless you really need to separate certain things and focus on that for a win. That is me, Shadohaunt Joker, and may luck always be on your side, and tally ho!